CT, Danny Life, and Lazy Boy. We up right now, locking up your Saturday. Tell your bookie send my payment. Lot of opinions, but we only care about one statement. It's Boston Eddie Cappers, yeah. 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 Boston Eddie Cappers.
Good evening and welcome into there's our guy. There's Mr. Julian Udlow. Welcome into the Monday opener here at 7:10. Apologies, my fault. I wrote down 7 o'clock because fucking usually it should have been 7 o'clock, but of course Jules said, or should have been said 7:30. Excuse me, but Jules said no, I need to do 7 o'clock. So here I am. And of course
I said 7 would be better.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, anyways, I fucked it up. It's my fault. I'll take the blame. Welcome into the Monday opener, first Monday opener in a couple weeks, guys. Back to our normal schedule here now that we no longer have like 3 Monday Night Football games a week, which was absolutely ridiculous for whatever. But we have a lot to get to. Let's start with last week's thoughts, and of course the recap. So I'll get to the recap here as well, but let me do the old Viva read for us. And this Monday opener episode of the Bob.
Anybody else not hear Dan anymore?
Yeah, we all can't. Why don't you take it, Jules?
All right. Let me open it up.
Thanks.
How about now?
Just in the nick of time. I was going to save the podcast, Dan. Make up for my notable 2 week absence that everybody's been complaining about.
I fucking hate this stupid goddamn mic, Jules. Fuck you and your fucking mic choices. This Monday opener episode of the Boston Indie Cappers Network is brought to you by VIVA Tequila Seltzer. With only 88 calories and a 4.5% ABV, VIVA Tequila Seltzer is the most refreshing seltzer out there. Clean, light, and dangerously drinkable, made with real tequila and bold flavors like huckleberry and grapefruit. Viva pairs perfectly with a winning ticket and some football. And our next live show will be November 15th. That's right, just a couple weeks from now at Drifters Kitchen and Bar in Quincy, Mass. 11 a.m. Come have some Vivas. Join us while we break down the weekend games. Viva, live long, live well, live it up, Viva. Again, that's at Drifters Kitchen and Bar in Quincy, Massachusetts, 11 a.m. November 15th. I'm just going to have to deal with the fact that that I don't have a good mic right now. Shit happens. Let's get to the Viva thoughts of the week, guys. I'm going to start with you, Jules, considering you haven't been here in what feels like a fucking full moon. Tell me your thoughts of last week and even the last couple weeks if you want to join that.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I've been doing a little better, but not like getting this football season in line like the last few have gone. So a little frustrating there. And of course, I feel like this week it felt like, you guys know I'm a teaser guy. It felt like there was a lot of stuff in NFL range to tease down in terms of those like 6 to 7.5 point favorites. Can even include the Bengals from 5.5. And that finally, in a lot of ways, came through. I mean, favorites went 10-2 against the spread yesterday. Of course, I had some Bengals double result, up 14 in the fourth quarter, and I'm on the wrong side of one of the two. But huge week for favorites in the NFL. Really the past couple weeks, but more so I think yesterday was most notable. And the other one was the Falcons. So did I benefit from this week of favorites? No, because I had some Falcons and Bengals, of course. But crazy week of favorites in the NFL. And if you're sitting here listening to this saying that you should go bet on the Chiefs, pump the brakes. I don't think that means anything as it pertains to this game. But yeah, NFL wise, things just favorite in the over, coasting. That's my thought.
Okay, CT, over to you.
Did you need it to be a longer thought, Dan?
No, that's totally fine. Over to you, CT. You're totally
I'm
fine.
Sorry, I didn't know we were going 7 hours tonight. Let me get it.
7 hours, pal.
Jules, I thought that was perfect. I'm not the host of the show, so
Thanks. Dan was staring at me like I had 7 heads.
I shockingly, I froze. What else is new? I can't get the mic to work. I can't get the computer to work. Everything technology is showing up lift shots today. What can I tell you?
My thoughts here. Last 3 weeks have been pretty good for me. Outside of LSU on Saturday night, college has been pretty good the last few weeks. I feel like I've been seeing the board well. Was down in Iowa City on Saturday. Saw awesome game. Well, awesome game if you had Iowa like me. Start to finish, absolute blowout. I talked to you guys about this team a lot, and it's a special team down there. They got something going, and it's not the most talented Iowa team that we've seen in years past, but Kirk really likes this team, and they're just getting the job done. So it was really fun to be there. And if they went out, I know it's a tall task. That's a playoff team right there, which is kind of wild. So college has been good. NFL has been decent as well. Just got back in the green there, in the black for NFL yesterday. 2-1 day. Like Jules said, it was pretty chalky. Only two favorites to not cover were the Bengals, unfortunately for Jules, and the Falcons just get blown out, decimated with injuries there. Another good week for the public in the NFL. I guess if you bet the fave and the over, last couple of weeks you're doing pretty well in the NFL. So we'll see what happens. It's crazy. The season's gone by really fast. Feel like I'm turning a corner a little bit here, so let's try and keep it going.
All right. I'll get it started on my thoughts here while we have, I guess we should filter through the comments because, man, there's a lot of them right now. Muted ad read. Thank you very much, Connor. Yeah, looks great. Cook, obviously laughing at my fucking inability to do this. Yes, the Captain Caveman checking in with the off to a rip-roaring start, Dan versus Mike. Yeah, so it's been fucking phenomenal, guys. Let me fucking tell you. It's been just phenomenal for me personally. No, but just to give our recap of our last week as well, because I said that I would do that as well. Last week, college football 1-3-1, minus 2.38 units. NFL 5-1, plus 4.9 units. A nice winning week for us. Here we go. Fun stat for you, CT. Positive 1.8% CLV in college football. Didn't matter. Minus 1.7 CLV percent in NFL. Didn't matter. CLV no longer matters. That's not totally true, but the reality is that CLV is mattering less and less and less.
I think your college recaps off because I don't have it in front of me, but we both gave out Iowa. So that's a double winner.
Correct, but I counted that as one bet, CT.
Oh, you did?
Yep. So
Gotcha.
that's the case. Yep. So yeah, 1-3-1. That is the correct number there. But yeah, but moving on down, my real thoughts are for this week is, and we'll get into it, but basically the coaching cycle here is going to be absolutely ridiculous coming up next year. LSU, I think, is obviously going to be a massive one. I think, and the more I'm hearing about it, guys, I think Alabama is going to be an opening. I do not think the coach is going to be continuing at Alabama. I'm not saying he's going to get fired, but I hear that there's a lot of unhappiness there with the boosters, a lot of other things in that. So I'm not sure that happens. We've obviously heard the rumors about Sark leaving Texas. There's a chance that Lane Kiffin leads Ole Miss. I mean, we're going to have monster openings just there, not to mention potentially UNC, potentially Clemson. I mean, the coaching carousel in college football this offseason is going to be unlike anything that we have ever seen. So that's my number one. And my number two is that really NFL favorites the last 2 weeks are just, I mean, they just can't lose. We are kind of heading back to last year, where last year favorites just crushed everything in the NFL. I do think that we're kind of heading towards that way again. There is a clear differential between the good teams and the bad teams in the NFL right now. And it's, I don't know. I think the gap continues to widen each and every week, which is something that's kind of crazy. I can't really believe that's the case. And whatever, our guy here checking in, Dan, don't be like Vrabel, acknowledge McDaniels. He's an upgrade. I think Josh McDaniels is fucking terrible. I don't know what you guys are watching. McDaniels, again, game script last week, first half. Just go look at the scripted plays. Terrible. He was fucking terrible in the first half. Second half, he finally figured out, hey, I have to use Travion Henderson on the outside zone. He's not an in-between tackles running back. And all of a sudden, they ran the ball for 177 yards and had some success. I don't know. Josh was good in the second half, no doubt about it. I definitely want to give him this credit there. But without Drake May looking like an MVP, Josh McDaniels looks like a complete utter fucking moron again, as per usual. He's just not a good offensive coordinator. I think Drake May would be, good with fucking Jules calling the plays right now. And Jules can't figure out anything in the prop shop. So imagine when he's calling the plays. Seriously, no one calls a better third down draw than Josh McDaniels too on Sunday. Two of those really, really good play calls. Neither of them got a first down, by the way. So
I'll piggyback on your coaching carousel because little birdie, when I was down in Iowa City, told me the same thing as you. That DeBoer is not happy down in Alabama, doesn't like living down there.
Yep.
And I heard that the top two guys for the Penn State job is Rule 1 and DeBoer 2. And DeBoer is a little bit of a dark horse, but the person that told me this said that he wouldn't be shocked if he's not in Bama again next year, if he's moved on.
There was a heavy move.
He thinks Rule is a done deal.
I do too. But there was a heavy move on Kalshi that Joe Brady was going to be the head coach for Penn State, which I thought was absolutely fucking nuts. But yeah, fucking Joe Brady, the Bills offense. I think that's absolutely crazy. Either way,
what are the odds right now on Rule?
I don't have Kalshi up in front of me, and I'd have to go and take a look. I'll see if we can
talk about that out off air. I forgot about that until you brought it up.
Yeah, we can take a look at that. Maybe get a small bet on that one. Who knows? We're all semi-retired from betting anyway, so who cares? Just kidding. Let's move over to the Bet 105 moves on the board. And unfortunately, guys, I thought it was coming on at 7:30, not 7:10, so I don't have all these done. So I'm going to try and do them as pretty much as we go, which should be a really interesting one. Let's start with this one, guys. Let's start with 315, 316. Memphis and Rice total moves from 53.5 to 49.5. Either of you have any thoughts on this game, or I guess the move on the total? Memphis obviously finding a big way to win last week after, man, I didn't think that they really had a chance early on. That game looked way out of hand for them. But, man, they kind of figured it out. And you guys, any thoughts on that? And Rice also beating UConn outright, a big upset for them. Any thoughts on the total there, guys?
Outright winner there for – sorry, Jules.
No, go.
For Rice, they've kind of been playing a quarterback carousel all year long. Triggerman been hurt, and that was a big win for them. But the style that they play – I wasn't totally shocked to see this bet down a little bit here. Memphis, as we know, could score. Rice is, slows it down a little bit more here. So,
Jules, any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, Rice has been giving up points the last couple of games. They had that 61 burger to UTSA. But yeah, I would assume they try and slow this game down against Memphis. And Memphis, they had no business coming back and winning that Arkansas game. So they kind of know how to claw back in these games, and it's not necessarily pretty, and it's probably not the best spot after a win like that for either team here, which could play towards the slow start. So I understand the move. I don't have a play on it or a feel for it, but betting splits wise, you can see, like, I don't just looking at DraftKings, 34% of the bets for 91% of the handle is under in this game.
Yeah, no, I very interesting sharp move there. I disagree with the move completely. But anyways, let's move on to a bigger one. I think you guys will both have some takes on this one. 355, 356, Iowa State and Arizona State. Jules is bane of his existence. Iowa State opens 3 against Arizona State up to 6. My guess is that it has to do with Sam Levitt. He was not at practice today. Jules, that is the rumor on the street there. And my assumption is he is not going to play. But I'll start with you on this one, Jules. Any thoughts on this game at all, considering how well you or how much you love these two teams?
I don't love either of these teams. I just hate BYU. I fade BYU every week. Next week's going to be the week. And Saturday, I was convinced that was one of my favorite spots of the season, how that set up for Iowa State. And they came out and looked the part. And I saved myself by saying, you know what, this is such a good spot. I'm going to bet a little first half and got a chunk of my losses on the game back. But, credit to BYU, I guess, for stepping up and the way they won that game. But that was a great spot for Iowa State. So now I guess you got to be, triply pissed off if you're Iowa State, who's now gone loss, bye, loss. And now you're going to get a crack at Arizona State without Levitt, who looked terrible without Levitt the time that they played without him. So totally agree with the move if the news winds up getting there. I don't know what I'll do about it at this point, but it probably keeps going, and then it lands on 7, and then you're looking at do you want to lay it? Is it a half of a money line parlay? But yeah, I agree with the move. The move makes total sense.
All right. Any thoughts for you, CT?
Yeah, it makes total sense. I don't think he's going to play. I didn't get down any Iowa State, and our buddy Captain Caveman's right. No Levitt or Tyson's going to be an absolute issue for the Sun Devils team. It's a totally different team without Levitt. He's their leader. He's their warrior. He gets all the guys going. You could kind of survive a little bit without Tyson and stay within games. No Levitt. It's just a big, big problem for that Sun Devils team. But on the other hand, I think in that coaching carousel, Dan, I don't know. Is Campbell safe at Iowa State, or I shouldn't say safe? Will he be moving elsewhere?
Interesting thought process. CT's you hearing a little birdie on that one potentially?
Yeah, a little bit. Not as big as the DeBoer and Rule, but I've heard Campbell might be looking at other options, I should say.
Okay, let's move over to the next game, 359-360. Baylor and UCF. I disagree with this move. I'll start with that. I know that they had a brutal second half in that game, but Baylor was at one point in that game, made it a 1-score game, and then it kind of got away from them. Cincinnati came rip-roaring back, but open 6, now down to 4 against UCF. I continue to think that UCF is pretty fraudulent, but CT, you're our resident Baylor guy. I'll start with you. What are your thoughts here?
Totally agree with you. Disagree with the move, and I get it. Baylor's been absolute train wreck the last 3 weeks, and they just continue to shoot themselves in the foot, and they get down the early leads. We saw them jump out 7-0 lead in the TCU game. Then all of a sudden TCU just rips, 3 straight scores off. It's just a constant problem. Aranda's not making adjustments. The defense is an absolute disaster. But I disagree with this move. I think UCF is getting a little too much credit here. Bring Baylor back at home, noon game. Everybody is just absolute crucifying Aranda here. The talent is there on this team. And Dan, they've covered one game all year, and that was the game we got lucky on versus SMU. I think Baylor wins this weekend by double digits.
All right, Jules, over to you.
Yeah, I trust CT's opinion on the move more than myself in terms of him following Baylor. So the way that I'm looking at it is, so the total looks like that it's taking some pretty decent money. God, where is it? I just had it in front of me. Okay. So I'm looking at 63% of the tickets for 94% of the dollars over. Obviously, I'm looking at my employer. I'm looking at the DraftKings numbers at 59.5.
Shout it out. It's okay.
This is what I have in front of me. This is what I have the up to the second information on. So, UCF has taken the money on the side, like 32% of the tickets for 62% of the dollars. But if you're telling me this game is getting bet over, and the spot sets up at home for Baylor, you just laid an egg against Cincy. You guys know Baylor team total is something that I have not been afraid to go to this year. They put up 36 at TCU, 35 in that somewhat miraculous home win over K-State, 45 at OK State. Arizona State held them in check a little bit, and then we're going back a ways after that. But I think it's a good spot after kind of getting held in check on the road to come home and score. And that goes along with CT saying Baylor by double digits. So whether you want to lay it or I got to do my homework throughout the week on this game, but I think the Baylor team total, there could be something to that in this spot.
So, somebody agrees with us because some books just went to 5 here.
Okay. All right. So a little of a buyback. We do have a question from Connor saying, do you think that Baylor has quit on Aranda, CT? And I think this is probably a question that's probably most suited for you. Do you think that Baylor has quit on Aranda? My personal opinion is no, because we saw them fight back in that Cincinnati game before Cincinnati kind of blew it open late in the fourth. But I kind of thought that Baylor once again showed some fight. I don't think they quit on him. I just don't think he's a very good coach.
I think you answered that well. I don't think he's a very good coach, and it's very rare that you see a Baylor team quit in general, Dan, because a lot of these kids, these are a lot of 2- and 3-star kids. Ever since the NIL has come into play, now these kids have a lot of bonuses that they have to hit in order to get paid. You're going to see this team fight hard all the way through, whether Aranda's making the right decisions or not. You won't see the players quit. That's one thing about Baylor. You haven't seen a Baylor team quit, Dan, since the year after Art Briles got fired and Jim Grove took over as the interim coach. They started off 5-0, then lost to Texas at Texas, and it was a complete disaster after that. I think they lost the rest of the way, and that team quit. It was a complete disaster. This team won't quit. There's a lot of talent there, and I think playing UCF this weekend is kind of what the doctor ordered to get them feeling better about themselves.
All right, let's move on to 379, 380. Miami, SMU. Obviously, Miami coming off, a brutal loss to Louisville. SMU coming off an outright loss to Wake Forest. You see Miami get bet up here. SMU continues to look soft and squishy. Miami kind of got exposed against Louisville. I'm really surprised about how bad Miami looked in that game, especially on both the offensive and defensive lines, where they had a major edge and they got annihilated up front, I think is a fair way to say it. I don't know about you guys. I still somewhat agree with this move because I think SMU, really nice year last year. They look great. They look like a mid-level to bottom tier ACC's team right now. And man, it's pretty crazy how far they've fallen off.
So yeah, I don't disagree with the move. And, just going off preseason openers, like game of the year line, this was Miami 2.5. So obviously that speaks more. I think that speaks more to Miami being as good as they've been with the Louisville outlier than the downward arrow on SMU. But it is a little bit of both, as these things always are when there's a game that has moved, so far apart from our preseason expectations. I want to trust Miami because they've been really good the entire time, except for the Louisville game and the first half against Stanford. That was 7-7 at halftime, right?
Yes.
And then Miami covered they ran the cover play. Stanford was up 7-0, and then Miami covered. Yep. So, they turned it on a little bit. Miami hasn't left Florida all season. They've played every game home with a road game at FSU.
Yeah.
This is going to be a somewhat of a test for them. We haven't seen them in this. The reason that I would not bet Miami is because we have not seen them in this type of atmosphere all year. If you're going to go on a road trip, a Saturday night road trip to FSU is about as comfortable, I guess, as it gets. I know FSU can be a tough place to play, but just, not much goes into that. Now you got to do the real thing for the first time on November 1st, your first road trip. And you got SMU coming off a bad loss, so they're going to be motivated at home. I don't disagree with the move based on how good Miami has been, but I don't think it's a good spot to bet Miami.
Not even saying that. I don't even fucking count Stanford. It's ridiculous. Anyway, either way. All right, let's move on quickly here. 389, 390. Old Dominion against Monroe. Minus 14.5 to 17. I only bring this game up because I bet Old Dominion last week. They were up big in that game, completely shit the bed at the end of it, and barely held on for the victory. Monroe does not have a kicker, can't kick field goals. They're an absolute disaster right now. Old Dominion should absolutely roll them, but I can't get on them after last week. Do you guys have any thoughts on this game? I assume not.
No. Everybody keeps telling me to bet Old Dominion, and I keep not because I don't know about them, and then they don't cover.
I did like them last week a lot last week. All right, 453, 454, Niners and Giants. Total goes from 45 to 48.5. Which I thought was interesting. I would assume that means that they think Purdy is probably in, which is what we saw earlier today. Have you guys heard anything on Ayuk? Because I think that Ayuk is a real potential and real possibility to play as well.
I know it's got to be getting like it's right around the corner for him to play. I actually thought when we did all like the preseason shit that he would be back by now. So it's got to be almost there. And don't you think it would be so Shanahan if he brings them back at the same time?
It does feel like it potentially is trending that way. I think that's why we've seen that big move there, CT. I do think that is a legitimate and real possibility for that to happen. And look, the Giants without Cam Scadaboo, they're going to be throwing a hell of a lot more. You're going to be seeing a lot of throws, a lot of designed Jackson Dart runs. That's kind of my guess is what we're going to be seeing there. So I think it makes a lot of sense and all the sense in the world for that to be kind of happening.
Yeah, that's a big move. Circa's 49 right now.
Yeah, and again, I think this is just going to continue to go up and up and up, and it really shouldn't be that much of a surprise. So there you go. All right, and then finally, fellas, 461, 462, Lions and Vikings, a sharp move today on Minnesota. JJ McCarthy will be back. Carson Wentz out for the season. Jules, you were big on fading the Lions, and you liked the Vikings earlier this year. What are your thoughts on this number moving almost 2 points today in a rather sharp move?
I mean, I'm looking like I'm going to be wrong on the Lions. We'll see if they, there's still some football to be played. We'll see where the win total goes. But the handicap portion of it, of losing the coordinators and, some key offensive and defensive line pieces, has not played out. Detroit's really good. And I think out of the bye at home, they should look really good against Minnesota. Minnesota's not very good. So even without Carson Wentz, even trying to steer things in the right direction with a long week off the Thursday night game, I don't think that's going to be enough. So we'll see, but this could be a Detroit Rolls kind of game.
All right.
That move didn't last very long because it's been back up to 8.5 almost everywhere, and there's some 9.5s too.
Wow. Okay, there you go. There we go. All right, we have a couple questions. People want to discuss UT and Vandy, so I think we should move on.
We are from that's AJ. I used to talk to AJ all the time through DMs, and then I had like a 2 bad weeks in a row last year, and he blocked me for some reason. We used to talk all the time. Probably not a good decision to block me, considering how I ended my football season last year. But, hey, AJ, how are you?
Same guy or not?
Yeah, that's definitely him.
Okay, all right. I have no idea. Anyways, let's continue on to the Juice Reel games of the week. We didn't do the Bet 105 opener, so we'll do that at the end. Jules, why don't you hit us with that Juice Reel games of the week opener?
Yeah, the Monday opener episode of the Boston Handicappers Network is brought to you by Juice Reel. The world's first transparent betting marketplace is finally here. No more scammers. If you believe you're a winner, simply sync your sports books to the app, and all your plays will be shown for everyone to see. Want to find the best bettors on the app instead? Everyone's bets are ranked and records are legitimate. You can access the top Juice Reel members' plays through the app if you want to tail someone, or you can get paid if someone tails your bets instead. You can also find exclusive bets from the Boston Handicappers on the Juice Reel app each week that won't be given out on the podcast. Don't worry, they're still free. Just go download the Juice Reel app and add the Boston Handicappers as friends via the link provided in our Twitter profile. If you guys have any questions, feel free to DM us. Juice Reel, where transparency is king.
And I do believe that last week we gave out 2 Juice Reel plays, and I'm pretty sure they were both winners.
Yeah, you just it reminded me as well. Missouri State, and then I added Washington.
You had Washington. That's right. I believe we went 2-0 in those.
We did indeed. Please adjust the college record from last week. Thank you.
Well, we don't count. We count the Juice Reel plays differently. We got to keep some transparency there.
All right,
fair. You got to have a record for everything. CT.
Yes, we
Dan's record on Russian ping pong on Wednesday nights. It's its own segment.
Okay. See, Jules is giving me shit. Time to give Jules some shit before we get into the games of the week. Here is the Julian Edlow tease of the week.
I'm not teasing Lions this week, caveman.
And here we go. Was Jules right about any season-long win total? How about them Colts? Yeah.
Did I even give out the Colts though?
Oh, you had Colts under, big guy.
I did it on this. Okay.
Yeah, you did. And
I mean, I did bet him under.
Hey, I was wrong on him too. I'm glad I didn't bet him, but I did not see this coming either.
Yeah, dude. To be fair, I didn't see it coming. I didn't like under, but I didn't see it coming. And then Brandon checking in afternoon. Jen's glad to see CT let Jules back on the show. Jules, welcome back. We did.
I'll tell you a win total I was right about. Patriots over 7.5.
There you go. I knew it was going to fucking get into it. Well, we will get into the Patriots as well. But AJ saying nothing personal, CT. I had to clear my head, was running real bad. So
no worries.
I might block CT right now too if that works.
Me too. Me too. Does that work? Because if that's
the case, AJ, let me know.
Yeah,
how'd that go?
Yeah, so you DM us, AJ. Seriously. Let's talk about that game. We're going to skip ahead. We'll talk about that game because I do think it's the best game on the board. 349, 350, Texas and Vandy. Texas opened 3.5, 45.5. Now sitting 1.5, 45. So, okay, I'm just going to be honest and say it. I think we're all thinking it. The whole world's going to be on Vanderbilt, right? They were on Vandy last week. Fucking Vandy finds a way to cover. They beat Missouri. That's when I tell you can't always fade the public. It doesn't always win. And that's why I don't think it's a legitimate strategy. But I do think in this case, Vanderbilt's offense is going to have a very big issue with the Texas defense. Again, I do think this is kind of like a reboot of the Oklahoma game to a degree. Now, Arch did not practice today. He's in concussion protocol. How big of a drop-off is the backup, do you guys think right now? CT, I'll start with you. Do you think that Arch matters that much right now?
No, I kind of like Caldwell,
Me too.
Journeyman. He's a senior. Let's see. I think he started his career Jacksonville State. Then he went to Gardner-Webb. Troy, played at Troy. Then and hit the portal as well. Ended up here in Texas. I like how if he's going, Dan. I don't think it's much of a drop-off at all. It might not be a drop-off, and I think you're right. I think this Vanderbilt offense finally going to run into some trouble with an absolute elite defense in the Horns. And I think last week, Dan, was exactly what Texas needed to get it rolling. We were talking on our chat when Texas was coming back. They might win out now after coming back from that game. That's a game that really gets you going.
I don't agree with that.
I think that's a nice boost to go into this weekend and knock off a Vanderbilt team that everybody's talking about. Get to come back home here. The big story in college football is Pavia and Vandy. They're knocking off ranked teams left and right. I don't know. I think this is going to be a tall task for Pavia and company. And I tweeted this one out on Sunday, and I'm going to add another unit here because I added again Texas -1. So that will be first show play of the day. Texas -1.
Wow, look at that. CT stepping into the show play. I love it. Let's do it. All right. Hey, that's our first show play. Jules, what are your thoughts in this game? Do you believe that Caldwell is a 2-point drop off from Arch? Again, opener 3.5 at Circa. And what are your thoughts here?
I'm not going to pretend like I know a ton about Caldwell, but I can't imagine that there's, quarterbacks at Texas that are a huge drop off from Arch Manning right now. Arch Manning hasn't been great. I'm trying to play a pretty thin card right now. So this one is not on it yet, but if I play it, it's going to be Texas.
I'm on board, baby.
Money line, you're looking at like -120 at this point.
Bet 105 -115 on the money.
-115 money line is like, imagine seeing that a couple months ago that we're going to get, let's call it a near a pick'em at Vandy at Texas. So I totally see the value. Now, I have bet on Vandy consecutive weeks. I bet against them against LSU, the -140 money line range. I bet against them -140 Mizzou. They got through on both, but LSU's a little bit of a mess, as we now know.
Yep.
And how good is Missouri? I don't know. I give them a lot more credit for Missouri, and Missouri fought them tougher than LSU, I would say, in their second road game of the season. You're coming off Alabama and then the overtime Auburn. So like tough spot for Missouri. I'd like Vanderbilt as a team, but yeah, this is going to be tough going to Austin and playing this defense. So you're telling me I can just play a money line on Texas at this point in the season with that defense. Now, again, I would be on this one if Texas just lost that game. if this was a bounce back off a loss. But CT seems to feel it's just as good to carry that momentum. I really would have liked to lose that game and get the under 9.5 wins. We have it at like plus 160, whatever we have. That would have been nice to get cashed. I don't think they're going to win at Georgia, though, but we'll get to that one later. But this is going to be Texas or pass. I'm close to getting on board, particularly with the drop in price.
Yeah, okay. Speaking of which, we got questions. Arch is out. I've heard that Arch is likely to be out. I do not have confirmation, but I've heard he's likely to be out.
So before we get to the next question, Dan, do we just wait?
I think we wait. Like I think
there's move more, right?
I would agree. I think you probably see Texas go off as an underdog. But I think again, we're doing the show on Monday, right? We're doing the show on Monday. CT, we don't have time to wait on the number, so we're doing the show on Monday. Got to give out the points.
Yeah, we got a show to do.
And I kind of feel like this game reminds me a lot about kind of like the Red River shootout, right? I was betting Texas no matter who was playing quarterback in that game, and the numbers aren't going to matter whether you get Texas as a 1.5 point dog or Texas
no, I more mean
they're
like
going to control this game and win.
If I can get them, I mean, I agree with you. It doesn't matter. I can play them minus 115 now. If I get them even money, then cool. But more so if Arch is in, then I don't want to bet on an injured Arch minus 3.5 once the number if the number ticks back.
That's fair.
Sure, I see what you're saying. I kind of heard what Dan heard as well. I don't think he's playing this week.
Yeah, I don't think.
Okay, so then if he's out, I'm waiting.
Patrick checking in saying, this is where my Pavia 150-1 ticket dies. I do think you might be interested in taking some no at Circa this week. They are offering the no on Heisman. So if you know anyone out in Vegas, you have 151 Pavia ticket, you want to take some no and hedge that like a fucking gardener. I actually don't think it's the worst bet of all time. And Connor saying maybe no drop off, but they do play more conservative with a guy who has limited first team reps. I actually disagree because I think they have I think they play conservative with Arch. If anything, I think Arch might be making them conservative offensively compared to what they were the past few years. So I don't know if they'll be any more conservative, to be honest. I think they'll kind of be relatively the same thing again. So I think that's the case. And again, Brand mentioned, and don't get my hopes up against CT. I do think I think I'll probably end up on Texas if I had to choose here. Let's go back to another monster game, which I think is once again very interesting. 325, 326, Tennessee and Oklahoma. So Tennessee opens 3, opens 50, it opens 56, now up to 57. What are you guys' thoughts on this? Oklahoma was super disappointing last week against Ole Miss. That Ole Miss defense is not good, and yet teams just sometimes struggle against them. I don't get it. I just really don't understand it. But teams struggle against them. Maybe I'm just wrong at Ole Miss. I just watch them. They don't pass the eye test at all. They don't pass the statistical test either. But man, people just struggle against that fucking team. But regardless, what are you guys' thoughts on this one? Because I want to go back again to Oklahoma. The EP again, the Tennessee defense is so bad, guys. Like I don't forget about the Ole Miss offense, the Ole Miss defense. The Tennessee defense is so bad. I mean, this is unbelievable. They're one of the bottom teams in the country right now. They're 124th in defensive success rate. Like they gave up like 21 unanswered to Kentucky. They suck. The defense sucks. I'm not saying the Oklahoma offense is great, but I think Mateer could be able to do some things against them at least. I don't know. What do you guys think on this one?
Oh, I was laughing at our good friend Ross's comment. He loves my Calvin Sampson line.
Yeah, lead a horse to water. Yeah. I'm aware of that.
I'm with you. I wanted to go back to OU this weekend as well. Just a really disappointing effort at home last week at noon. I mean, the defense just couldn't get a stop. I mean, Ole Miss kind of just did whatever they wanted to. The OU guys on D spent more time talking shit, telling Lane that they weren't going to score than they did playing actual defense. It's just really tough for me to back them right now, especially after that effort there. Mateer is being less and less talked about, and he was, Jesus Christ, number 2 next to Arch Manning after the first few games this season. So
Heisman favorite.
I got nothing here. I probably won't have anything on this game.
All right, Jules, anything in this one?
If I did bet it, I'm a little more inclined to bet the over, just because I feel like Tennessee will dictate the pace a little more, kind of like Ole Miss was able to. Yeah, totally aligned on all the thoughts on Oklahoma. I had them to win that game. That would have put them over their win total. I was a big Sooner fan on Saturday afternoon. They didn't come through. Whose offense is better, Ole Miss or Tennessee?
Whose offense is better?
Statistically, they'll say Ole Miss.
Ole Miss.
I'd say it's probably close to a toss-up.
I don't think it. So I'll give you Ole Miss, but I think it's close. Let's say Tennessee's 90% of it.
I agree. Yep.
That was now you got to go at Tennessee. I think Tennessee is going to play fast and put some points up, and their defense stinks. You can much more, again, I don't know if this will make my card, but you can much more interest me in the over than a side in this game.
Fair enough. I think that this is the Oklahoma defense will step up this week. I do think that this is where Aguilar struggles. I just think straight up Chambliss is a fucking baller, dude. Like I think Chambliss is so underrated and so undervalued. He's a fucking baller, and I don't think Aguilar is close. I don't think Aguilar is even close to as good as Chambliss is. So I think that is the difference in this game, Jules. I think Chambliss made some throws that Aguilar just cannot make and will not make. And I also think the Tennessee defense is worse. I do think obviously being on the road is certainly something interested, but let's see what happened there. Yeah, Hit the Bucks did play -2.5 in this game. So certainly.
Played Tennessee -2.5.
Yeah, something there. All right, let's move on to the next big game of the week. 339, 340. Ohio State, Penn State. Obviously, the number is gargantuan in this game. I wouldn't have usually put it on here, but it's Ohio State, Penn State. You got to talk about it at least. CT, I'm going to say something. You tell me your thoughts on this one.
Yep.
This reminds me of the Ohio State-Michigan game last year. Now, I don't think Ohio State's going to lose.
Yep.
But I think this number is fucking ridiculous.
Yep.
Ohio State has played no one this year at all. Again, no one. Repeat for all the fucking morons who want to tell me that Julian Sayan's the Heisman. They haven't played anyone. Okay. So I think this number is getting ridiculous. If this gets to 21.5, I think you have to consider some Penn State here. No?
Couldn't agree more. And I was about to say everything you said. At the end of the day, Dan, how many points is Aller worth? I'll go first. I think he was worth 5. What do you guys think he was worth?
6 or 7. But either way, it's not an insane amount of differential there.
Jules, what do you think?
I don't know. No more than a touchdown. We can say it that way.
Yeah.
Okay, right. At the end of the day, you have to remember these are all 4- and 5-star kids left on this roster at Penn State. A lot of these kids are going to be gone. New regime coming in. This is still a tryout for them, whether they're going somewhere else, whether staying. A lot of them having NIL incentives again, Dan, like I talked about earlier. They're not going to, with Baylor, they're not going to give up here. And these are kids that could play with anybody in the country. What's the only difference of this team that was so power rated so high? Well, they don't have James Franklin and they don't have their starting quarterback. This number is a little out of control. Ohio State, as you said, really hasn't been tested all year long, kind of been sleepwalking through it, which they're the champs, rightfully so. They kind of waited a little bit, got some games on their Julian Sayin before they ended up kind of getting them going and letting them rip here. Reminds me a lot of this Michigan game. This hits 21.5. I'm going to be on Penn State, and I'll probably get some shit for this. Dan, I still have Penn State power rated in my top 25.
I mean, I don't think that's absurd in terms of pure power rating. Look, Iowa's really good, man. Like Iowa's a lot better than people think they were, including myself. You know, obviously Oregon's good. The Northwestern game, I think, was just like a kind of a snowball effect. But I don't think this number should be where it is right now. This feels.
I made the game 17. This is a little out of control.
Yeah, Jules, any thoughts on this one?
I don't disagree with where you guys are at. I have trouble seeing Penn State scoring to a degree on the Ohio State defense, but
which is like the total's 43.5 for a reason.
Yeah, and it's getting the over's taking some money. But again, we're giving Iowa their flowers. They just went to Iowa and scored 24. Now it's really 17. There was the blocked kick in there. But I mean, I don't know. This Grunkmeyer dude was 15 of 28 for 93 yards with 2 INTs in the Iowa game, and now you got to go play at Iowa State. I agree with CT's analysis that the Penn State team is still the same. You just remove the quarterback and the coach, but they were also wildly overrated to begin with, is the other part. So we have to determine, all right, well, where really were they? Because everybody had them 1, 2, 3 in the country. All right, what really were they?
Not everyone.
Many.
Not everyone.
And so now what are they? What is the downgrade? So yeah, I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth because I'm like, this is probably, if this gets past 21, this is too many. I could see taking Penn State, but I also don't think they score that many points. Like I was interested before on Penn State, like a team total under or something, but I think that's going to be too low.
Yeah, Dan, I missed a key point. Remember last year at the end of the year, Jim Knowles and Ryan got into it.
There you go.
And Knowles has been kind of sleepwalking here, right?
That's what
you don't think that he's going to care about this game of all the games they have left, Dan? This is the one, and he, of all the people, knows how Ryan thinks, and he could come up with a good scheme and a good game plan to make some stops.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. I think it's a Knowles revenge game. I think Knowles is interviewing for head coaching jobs, knowing that he's likely not going to be at Penn State next year. I think this is a massively important game to Knowles and that defense. And I'll just say this, Ohio State really hasn't been tested against the run so far this year. One of the few things that they really haven't faced is a decent run game so far. This is going to be a test for them and that Matt Patricia defense against the run game. And I am a little concerned that Ohio State, one of the few teams that actually might be able to move them up front, is this Penn State offensive line. I still think they're very good at that position. I think Penn State will be able to move the ball on them. I'm not saying they're going to be successful, score a ton of points, but I think the run game, low ball control here. I think defensively, Knowles knows what to do. And let's see fucking Julian Sain in a big time spot, because I've heard everyone suck this kid's dick. Look,
that happen?
Every Ohio State fan's telling me he's elite, Jules. I know you're on fucking both knees for him. Everyone is. So I'm getting, look, I'm an Ohio State fan. I love Julian Sain. It might be nice if someone maybe just shut the fuck up and maybe see him play a big game before we just anointed him the next holy fucking grail. Like, can we see him in a big game that isn't fucking Illinois? Like, my God, it's ridiculous. He sucked ass against Texas. He sucked against Washington. Let's everyone needs to take a little bit of a chill pill. All right, let's move on to a fun game here. This is a CT special, not even a lift shed special. A CT special, 347, 348. Army Air Force opens pick'em 50.5, now 50. I got no thoughts in this game except simply over. The days of the crazy triple option unders, they're just dead. These games are flying over and over and over. I would lean over in the game. That's my incredible breakdown and analysis. Thoughts there, CT?
Army. Finally realized that they had problems at quarterback position. Made Cale Helms the starter now. He's an absolute dude. They were running some weird quarterback rotations, and that was a problem from Army. He's finally the starter and the guy that's going to be under center for them. Coleman before was absolutely terrible, Dan. You know that because you like watching Army games for some reason. He was absolutely awful.
He was so bad.
But this is a big upgrade for them here. Air Force has kind of been a disaster. Finally got a win versus Wyoming, much needed win after 6 straight losses here. I think Army is going to go in there and take it to them, especially with Helms under center here. Dan, last week, great game plan against Tulane. Retzlaff needed to throw 2 touchdowns with like 3-4 minutes left in order for them to come back and win this game. Obviously, we know the military, big rivalry game here. I like Army, and I bet Army, and that's a show play. Army, PK, play it.
Look at that, another one. Jules, do you have any thoughts in this one?
Not really. I mean, I think your theory, Dan, on the Service Academy unders is definitely gone. Especially, we're talking about Air Force here. This team has been like an open gate all season.
Seriously.
So I would. I mean, but the total's high. I would lean to both of your plays on the over and the Army side of it. Basically just going against Air Force in multiple ways, that they're going to give up a bunch of points and lose this game. But nothing strong enough for me to go on.
Okay. I got nothing for me. I would just tell you the Service Academy unders are dead and buried. You can stick a fucking fork in them. That stuff is over. All right, so on the 401, 402, Florida and Georgia. Georgia opens a 8-point favorite, 50.5, now down to 7. I actually think this is a relatively big game for Georgia. But once again, number feels a little bit high on the road in a big time spot. Jules,
neutral technically.
Yeah, oh, that's right. It is a neutral field. You're right. I keep thinking that it's yeah, you're right. It is. It's a neutral site. My bad. You're 100% right. I will own that L. But yeah, what are your thoughts on this one, Jules?
So I like Georgia. The concern here is on the Florida side, just that, I mean, you fire the coach after a win. Mississippi State isn't that bad. They just went toe-to-toe with Texas. They covered against Tennessee. They go toe-to-toe at the Swamp with Florida. That was a weird spot for Billy Napier to be fired, in my opinion. Out of all the times you could have fired him,
we talked about it. It was the actual right spot to do it, even if we thought it was kind of weird. It was a bye.
Sure, it happened, and that's fine. Of all the times you could have done it, then they did it. That was kind of weird. But anyway, we're past that.
I get what you're saying.
And now you get the bye, the new coach boost. So like there's reasons to like Florida here. And if it was at the Swamp and it was priced anywhere near this, maybe I'd feel differently. But Georgia's finding ways to win games. That was an impressive fourth quarter against Ole Miss. And they've had their prep time as well. So I like Georgia, and I like that we're getting a discount now on Georgia. If it dips below 7, which I don't think it will, I might be interested. But Florida's going to look different, that's for sure, and that scares me. But I still think it's a big enough game for Georgia, who's also had time to prepare, that would be my side.
All right, CT, any thoughts there?
Made the game 6, numbers wise, and with the coaching change, would want to play Florida, but can't trust them enough. Just can't do it.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I got nothing in this game. I don't think it's a decent bet either way. I made the game 6.5, 7. Right on the number. I think it's a pass for me. Just going back here, Captain K-Man, Navy Air Force total landed on 65 joules. That's right. Rudy G checking in, wants to know LSU thoughts. We'll get to them in the podcast. We're not going to be able to get to them tonight because we need to head over to the NFL, boys, and talk about 2 monster games in the NFL this week. 457, 458 Colts and Steelers opens 349.5. No change in this game. Jules, you are a super anti-Colts guy. I'll start with you. Do you like the Colts or Steelers in this one?
I like the Colts. Colts are a machine that have been absolutely plowing me all season. So the Steelers just showed their true colors against a good team in that second half against the Packers, and it was a mess. The Steelers' defense is brutal. The Colts are scoring nearly 3.5 points per drive, which at this stage of the season ranks only behind the 2007 Patriots.
Yep, it's historic.
The Colts and Daniel Jones have a historically good offense.
How is Steichen not win Coach of the Year? He fucking made Daniel Jones into
he should.
the
he has to. He's got to be like far ahead of Vrabel too.
Yeah.
Yeah, the market makes no sense. I mean, I don't care how good the Patriots look.
I
He's
didn't
turned Daniel
know
Jones into an MVP candidate. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, I didn't know if we'd see a running back win MVP again, and like Barkley was in the conversation last year.
Right.
But Taylor has to be in the conversation. He is, if you just look at his rushing and receiving combined, he is on pace for 2,250 yards and 30 touchdowns. That would get you an MVP if you get in the end zone 30 times.
For sure.
Long story short, I don't think the Steelers are very good, and the Colts have just been an absolute ruthless death machine somehow. So yeah, Colts.
CT, any thoughts?
It kind of reminds me of the Houston Niners game from last Sunday, right? It's the NFL. Like Brandon says, insane stuff. NFL makes no sense. Yeah, makes completely no sense. I mean, the week before, Houston looked like the worst team in the world. Couldn't stop a nosebleed. Offensive line, horrible. And what do? They absolutely smash the Niners. Dan, normally I would love to back the Steelers here, but the way the NFL is going this year and the last few weeks, I can't do it. But I also can't keep laying. I not that I have been, but I can't condone laying it on the road here with a Colts team that's bound to run into a wall sooner than later.
Isn't that crazy? Basically, the Colts.
Money, it does. Yep.
The Colts and the Colts and Packers are now essentially power rated the same, right? 3-point road favorites at
That's right.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the Colts are 6 points ahead of the Steelers on the neutral, Jules. They're 3 points.
No. I'm saying Green Bay.
Yes.
And Indy are priced the same at Pittsburgh, so therefore they are power rated equally.
Yeah, I'd say Green Bay has probably been downgraded a little bit since then, but yeah, again, our -3 seems like stealing money. I'll see my way out. That's
stealing money always goes great in the NFL.
Love it. All right, and then now the big one: 471, 472. Chiefs and Bills. Chiefs -1 now 52.5. Okay, so I think Kansas City's been phenomenal the last couple of weeks. I think we've all seen that. I think they're probably playing as the best team in football right now. I'm sure some people will argue, Indy. I'm sure some people in the New England area will argue the Patriots, but I think it's been Kansas City the last few weeks. I do think Buffalo has obviously struggled at a great game versus Carolina. I think this is where Buffalo gets off the shot. I think Buffalo wins this game. I don't know if I'm betting it yet, but I think Buffalo wins this game and takes this big old matchup here. I love Kansas City. I think they're playing very well, but I think this is a decent spot for Buffalo here. I don't know. Well, CT, you've been our Kansas City guy. What are your thoughts here in Buffalo?
I totally agree. And Monday Night Football is about to kick, so I'll just leave it at this. Buffalo will be a play for me for next week.
Okay. Jules, any thoughts?
Yeah, if there's a game for Buffalo to get up and win, it's against the Chiefs at home, the one that doesn't matter as much because Mahomes always seems to get the one that matters, and then the Bills get their revenge in games like this. So that ideology makes sense. I'm just not so. I think the Bills teams of the past, to give pushback on the Bills side, have been much better. Like this defense is not good, and this defense could be. We still have to see what happens in front of us on Monday Night Football too. But like the Bills defense could be in trouble in this game.
Fair enough. I do think the Kansas City run game kind of struggles to take advantage of the Buffalo run defense there. I will say this. I know that we've obviously been getting a lot of questions about the Patriots and thoughts about there. I'll start with you guys. CT, thoughts on the Patriots at this point, knowing what we know now and where we are so far in the season.
Yeah, it was completely wrong about them. Between Drake May and the coaching change with Vrabel as the head coach has been just what this organization has needed. And it just shows you how big of a mess it actually was since Tom left. And Drake is playing like an MVP candidate. Without him, I don't know where this team would be right now. And a Drake May injury away from it all falling apart. And as a Patriots fan, I hope that does not happen. But it's been really fun to watch, and I've been totally wrong about them. And we kind of could bash McDaniels as much as we want, but at the end of the day, in the NFL, it's hard to win games every single Sunday, and they're doing just that. And they're probably going to win another one this Sunday versus a banged-up Falcons team. So I'll take the big loss. I was totally wrong.
Jules, thoughts?
Yeah, I was looking at that Pats -2.5, -115 look ahead on the Falcons and thought about it. And I was like, I'll just get to it next week. And here we are out to 4.5, 5.5. They're a good team. They're a solid team. They have not been super tested. I don't think we even think the Bills, I don't want to poo-poo on the Bills win, but the Bills win isn't that great. It was great for them, though, and it gave them the confidence they needed to go on the type of run that they're on. So we'll see, you know, that going to Tampa will be a good measuring stick for this team. And then we'll see how it goes down the stretch. But yeah, the schedule's really favorable. It would be fun to see them host a playoff game and really like test their mettle.
Yeah, I can't, and I put it out on Twitter, I can't think of another quarterback in the past 20 years outside of Lamar Jackson, who is he's the best, I think the best comp, who has made a jump from mediocre to absolutely MVP in his second year. And I honestly don't think anyone else has really mattered. I don't think Vrabel has mattered that much. I don't think Josh McDaniels matters at all. I think it has been purely the wide receivers and Drake May. And I don't think anything else has mattered. I think the defense is terrible. I think the defense wildly lucky that they've been where they are. They're decent against the run, obviously, especially in the interior. But I think this is just Drake May, man. I mean, again, go back and look at the scripted plays the last few weeks. They've been terrible. They're just not starting strong. They're starting poorly on both sides of the football. And in second half, they just turn it on. Drake May does what he wants to do, and they blow teams out. And right now, Patriots second half bets are just auto bets. You forget about the number, just bet it. He's playing at an MVP level. I think it's crazy how good he is. I can't believe he sucks so much ass at UNC, and then just turned around and became basically this kid. And it's really cool to see. I'm stunned. I'm way wrong on them as a whole. But I don't think it matters at all. He says right here, it's coaching. It's not coaching. It's not coaching at all. Because if it was coaching, the defense wouldn't be terrible, and Drake May wouldn't be the MVP or in the MVP race. This is Drake May. It's 100% Drake May. I mean, he's the best downfield passer in the league. It took Josh McDaniels 5 weeks to figure out to throw the ball downfield, and now that he's the best downfield thrower in the league, like it's not even close. They're explosive, they're fun. Defensively, they suck, but whatever, who cares? They'll get exposed when they get exposed. But enjoying the ride right now, it's a lot of fun. And man, Drake May is really, really, really fucking good. And you can respectfully disagree. I don't know what you're watching. Like, what are you watching there? Like, what coaching shows you what have they done coaching wise that's been good? Like, I don't see it. They're calling third down draws still. They're not. It took them 9 weeks to figure out to use Travion Henderson outside. Like,
well, we could talk more about that on the pod. We've gone over an hour here.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, fair.
CT's pulling the plug.
CT needs to hit the old CT back.
We hit a lot. We hit a lot tonight. That was good. We did
a lot. Well, we'll hit more on the podcast this week. Big one coming up. 3 straight weeks. 3 straight weeks of winning. Hopefully that continues here. A lot of anger. Coaching is not just play calling, respectfully. True and also not true. And come on, Dan. Come on. Again, give me an example. Tell me what the coaching is doing well.
I'll give Vrabel some credit for the coaching, for the culture shift a little bit.
Culture, I agree
with what he's saying. So that's culture, not that we need to keep going, but that's what I think he means there. And I'll give credit with Vrabel to the culture shift.
Coaching culture, I agree with. Coaching, I strongly disagree. I think they've been terrible coaching wise, but it doesn't matter because they find ways to win against these terrible teams. So we will be back Thursday. We will have another podcast Thursday.
I'm tapped out again.
Julian will not be here, which means you automatically know that me and CT will provide another winning week from you. No prop shop equals no losing weeks. We've come to realize that now. So no Jules again. We will be providing another week of winning. CT and I will be, and we will be potentially Jules and I will be getting a college basketball podcast as well in the next week or two. Probably not this week, probably next week. We'll see. CT likely not joining us for that one because he's CT and he just doesn't want to do it.
I put a major conferences only stipulation on it.
Yes.
And I know it's going to open up with Dan talking about
nope.
God knows what school.
Nope, not at all. No, this is not college football. We will absolutely only be doing major conferences, Jules. And you have my absolute promise, on that one. Will not be anything
2
but
plays.
Okay, there you go.
Should take 10
everyone.
minutes.
Hope you have a great Monday Night Football. Enjoy the game. We'll talk to you all next week. Cash 'em.